So, what else do you want to see? Anybody? Yeah, you over there. What do you want?
I would like to visit Jimi Hendrix gravesite.
What a morbid bunch. Oh, follow me. We're going to the cemetery. Jimi Hendrix, a true rock and roll legend, is buried here at Greenwood Memorial Park, just about 25 minutes drive south of downtown Seattle in Renton, Washington. Now, for 30 plus years, Jimi lay resting in a gravesite that was entirely nondescript, unremarkable, plain almost. So ordinary was Jimi's grave marker that you could spend a solid couple of days wandering the cemetery looking for his remains. But that's all old news. Now, recently, under the cover of night, Jimi's sister came to this site. Well, maybe not Jimi's sister per se, but somebody acting on her behalf secretly unearthed Jimi's remains and moved them to this glorious new Jimi Hendrix memorial. Now, this is a little harder to miss, and certainly more befitting a man of his rock and roll stature. Now I can hear you asking, why is Jimi Hendrix buried here in the Seattle area? What's the connection? The fact is, Jimi grew up in Seattle. He only became an international sensation after he moved away to New York and London. But Seattle's where he laid down his very first riffs. Jimi went to school here at Garfield High School in Seattle's Central District. Now, no doubt, this is where Jimi experienced his first purple haze, if you know what I mean. Now, Jimi was kicked out of school here in the late 50s at the age of 16 for allegedly holding hands with a white girl. Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention at least one more destination for all you hardcore Jimi fans, the Experience Music Project. Or the big ugly blob of a god that's a hideous building at the base of the Space Needle, as it's affectionately referred to by locals.
The Experience Music Project was actually founded as the Jimi Hendrix Museum. When we first started, there were a number of people who were real Hendrix experts who we talked with who were in Britain, and they'd say, well, it's stupid, why would you do a Jimi Hendrix Museum in Seattle? It should be in London. This is where he got famous. But one of the things that we actually highlight in our Hendrix exhibit is in the Pacific Northwest, there was a real distinctive music scene, and the bands around here had a distinctive sound. And Jimi left Seattle a highly accomplished guitarist. He didn't learn to play in London or learn to play in New York. And you can hear the influence of, that kind of unique Pacific Northwest sound, I think, in everything that he did. And, some of the songs like Spanish Castle Magic, which is a reference to a club that was really popular at the time, the Spanish Castle down on Highway 99. The Hendrix, that white Strat that he played, the Star Spangled Banner on at Woodstock is probably the single, most famous rock artifact. Partly because the footage is so good too, and they zoom in on the guitar and you can actually see the nicks and you can go, compare them.
Now, just to get this whole fascination with Seattle's dead out of your system, there's one more gravesite we should probably show you. Now, based on the sheer number of people worldwide that know this person's name, he's probably the most famous person buried here in the city. Just 2 miles northeast of downtown Seattle, Lakeview Cemetery. Look for plot number 277. You find the international celebrity of Fred J. MacArthur. What? Oh, plot 276. I'm sorry. You find Bruce Lee and his son Brandon Lee laying beside him. Bruce Lee died on July 20th, 1973 in Hong Kong at the very young age of 33. Now, Bruce was born in San Francisco and moved to Seattle in 1959. In 1963, Bruce got tired of waiting tables and opened his first martial arts studio here near the UW campus at 4750 University Way. It's now a thrift store where Bruce's spirit lives in the Afghan rugs.
My name's Mary Kay Letourneau. My family and I just recently put together this store, Valley of Roses thrift store. And during the time of working here, this old couple came in and said, I don't know if you know this, but we had a lab store in here. And before us, Bruce Lee used this space for his practicing. Sometimes it's awful cold in here, and I can feel his energy.
Now here is an unusual coincidence. Jimi Hendrix and Bruce Lee both share the same birthday, November 27th. But this is also a very important place in their lives. Recognize it? Come on, we were just here. Garfield High School, where you might recall Jimi Hendrix was a student, but it's also where Bruce Lee met his wife-to-be, Linda Emery.
My last name is Lee, Bruce Lee.
Now, she was a 17-year-old Garfield senior when Bruce came here to demonstrate his famous one-inch punch. Now, with the one-inch punch, Bruce would grab an unsuspecting stranger off the street, extend his arm so it's just an inch from his chin, and with nothing more than the shrug of his shoulder, he could knock his opponent to the ground. The lesson? Always stand at least 2 inches away from Bruce Lee. And me. Hands, lethal weapon.
What about Dave Matthews? Doesn't he live around here?
Ah, so it's living musicians you want. Why didn't you say so? I'm starting to get a little worried by you people. Come on. Yeah, Dave Matthews does live here in Seattle now. Dave relocated here from Virginia to be with his wife, who was a student at Bastyr College.
Let's go first to Seattle, Washington, where Dave Matthews is recording what I'm sure will be another platinum record.
Dave purportedly lives in a quaint residential area of Seattle near the University of Washington called Wallingford. You know, you do the right research, talk to the right people, ask the right questions. Now, we understand that you've actually met Dave's dog, is that right? Slip a few George Washingtons into the right hands. Voila, you find out exactly where Dave lives. Although this isn't it. Now, if you want a chance to interact with Dave, then his house is not the place to do it. You have to do as his neighbours do.
Hi.
Yeah, hi, look, we know that Dave Matthews lives here in the neighbourhood, right?
Yeah, what's this about?
Have you actually ever met him? Have you actually seen him or bumped into him in the street or anywhere?
I've seen him, yeah.
You have?
Yeah, a couple places around the neighborhood.
Can you show me?
I'm in the middle of something.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. Look, I'll buy you a muffin out there, okay?
Okay.
We're going to meet Dave Matthews in his natural environment.
Living in the neighborhood.
Oh, cool. So this is the Barnes & Noble that you saw Dave Matthews hanging out in?
Yeah, he's in here.
Can you show me what he was doing?
We can go get some coffee and a muffin.
Oh, no, can we just have a look at this first? This wall here.
Yeah, right there. Like that.
This is the wall that Dave was... Can you show me how he was leaning? This is how Dave Matthews was leaning against the wall.
And he coughed a few times.
Can you show me how he coughed?
You want to see
Yeah, could you do? Tell me exactly what happened when you saw Dave Matthews.
He came out that door.
Yeah.
And I had parked and I was walking in.
Yeah.
And we kind of walked by each other, maybe
You
five.
actually like walked straight by each other.
I mean, we looked at each other. We made eye contact.
Eye contact. You got to be feeling like the luckiest guy in Seattle.
Everyone I know has seen him somewhere.
You just need to go to the right places. Okay, I know that was a bit of a cop-out not showing you exactly where Dave Matthews lives. We wanted to give the guy some sort of privacy, not have you skulking around his living room window. All right, if you really must have it, I got it right here. I'm only going to say this once, okay? Now, Dave Matthews lives...
It is recommended that you arrive 2 hours prior to your flight scheduled departure.
Go around the corner there, it's the second...
Also,
gosh, that's loud. Anyway, just knock first, okay? Who wants to see something else?